Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday morning now, and sorry to move around. This is the first attempt at using one of these camera cams. It's not a webcam, but I'm all messed up here. Okay, let's try again. Um, I wanted to talk to you about the group project. That's really the reason why I'm taking the time and trouble to do the video clip. And here's what I want to say. First of all, it's important to understand that in this exercise, it's as important to learn how to work as a group as to produce the paper. And I really want everyone to keep this in mind that, obviously there is the final result. You need to produce a paper. The paper should be as good as humanly possible. That goes without saying. However, I think the deeper value and the underlying value in this exercise is learning how to work as a group. Okay, that's my point number one. So I'm learning how to learning how to talk into my camera. Now, the things that are important about working with a group are the following. First of all, you're going to have to do this without being micromanaged. That's the thing that I started to write it, but it seemed to be something that I should say in person, so to speak. That is talking to you. And what I mean by this is that it would be very simple for me to develop a menu or an agenda that you had to follow at certain times and things like that, and give you basic requirements for organizing. Now, that's often done when you work with groups in a class. Now, the reality is, and the fact is that on the job, that never happens. I mean, I can't tell you. Listen, I've thousands, maybe 2,000, 3,000. I don't know. I can't even count them. I can't come close to counting them. I've been in so many group projects and of every possible nature. That is small groups of three, large groups of literally thousands, multiple thousands, groups working in my office, groups working all over the world. I mean, I've done this a lot, really, really a lot. It's something I did for a decade. Sometimes I was in total charge. I was my deal. It was my task from a very senior corporate officer to set these things up. Sometimes I was kind of just, the slob in the corner. I mean, kind of worked in both ways. And I like both ways, actually. I like working sort of on the streets and at almost the grassroots level, working with 2 and 3, 4 people. That's very interesting because you end up knowing the people very well. I mean, modesty aside, I like doing the overall organization too. If I had to choose, I never had to choose. It was all kind of happened by accident. But one of the things that is in common between here's another one. I also did this in the United States, and I did it outside of the United States, working with, who knows, 30 different national languages. And one of the things that all these team or group projects had in common is none of them had an agenda. I mean, we had a vague timeline, sort of, and then we had something we were supposed to accomplish, of course. But we most certainly did not have a rule book for how to organize a group. I mean, I think if anyone had ever even asked for that or suggested it, or if I had suggested it, I mean, everyone would have just laughed because it's just not the way it worked. Occasionally, there would be some, what's it called? I forget the word, like a Visio person. There's another word for this in the corporate vocabulary. Someone who sets up these elaborate timelines. Okay, I mean, this is terrible. I should know this off the program manager, project manager. Yeah, I mean, of course we had project managers, but quite frankly, that was sort of for the record. It wasn't something anyone really used very much. And the way this worked is the project manager would have these elaborate, very intricate, very not that I didn't find them beautiful, but some people did charts with multi levels and on and on and on and on. People were very gifted at doing this. However, I mean, no one followed it, and the way it worked in practical terms is the group, the teams. And as I said, I mean, I did really small teams and enormous teams. What went on is the the project manager would end up responding to what we were doing, not the other way around. Okay, moral of this story is, I mean, I would be it's like a fool of a teacher to set up a point by point agenda that everyone had to follow. Okay, that would give you no practice in the way writing at work really happens, number one. And number two, it would be doing you a disservice because you wouldn't have to do this for yourself. Okay, this is all my way of concluding that I want you to do it by yourself. Okay, if you need help, it goes without saying that I will help you. I will give you an agenda. There's a timeline, whatever you want to call it. I'll give you a little project manager thing, if you really want it. Okay, for various reasons. I mean, the reasons I don't care too much about, but I would be happy to do that. But what I really want you to do is decide amongst yourselves how you're going to proceed. Now, this has 2 or 3 or 4 different elements, and I don't want this thing to run over 2 minutes, so because then it gets too hard to upload and it gets weird and transmission problems. I hope I'm doing okay. I got my tie not straight here. Next time I'll do a better job for you, but I decided just to let it all hang out this first time. The things that you need to decide, as I said in my little note to you, is first of all, you've got to decide whether you want a team leader. Okay, and that's completely up to you. I mean, if you want to talk to me about it, come talk to me about it. Text me is better. There's reasons for having a team leader. There's reasons for not having a team leader. If I were you, I wouldn't use a team leader because I wouldn't want, I don't know, the assumption of authority or having a boss. In general, in this kind of thing, having a boss is not a good idea. It's better to have a democracy. Okay, so that's the one thing. But once again, if you want someone to kind of take responsibility and to track and, whatever, encourage and motivate and organize and all that stuff, yeah, that's fine. That's, go ahead. It's good. Okay, now, so that's one thing you have to decide. The other thing, that's really important is your pacing or your tempo. Now, as this is one of these things, I could have written you 2 or 3 or 4 pages, and I've got a little document on this, but I wanted you to hear it from me. That's why I'm staring at my camera here with Indy in the background and Manet from whatever decades ago behind me. I want you to decide about your pacing. That is to say, whether you're just going to kind of throw it together, which is fine, which is what I would do, quite frankly, or you want to have your own deadlines, meaning on Wednesday you'll start, on Saturday you'll exchange suggestions, on Sunday you'll review, on Monday you'll do phase 2, and like that. I mean, that's what I mean by the timing or the tempo or the pacing of your thing. And that's, once again, that's completely up to you. And I think that that will and should depend on your lives. And that is, I mean, if you have a 50-hour-a-week job or a 55-hour-a-week job, then you're going to end up doing most of this on the weekend, and so plan accordingly. If you're all kind of, if your group just by coincidence doesn't have so much going on during the week, or if you don't have so many family responsibilities. That's something I also had in mind as I was setting this up. Then you can, then you can have a different kind of pacing to your project. But it's all up to you, and that's another reason why I did not. This is a little bit of different situation. At work, you're kind of all on the same, you're basically all at the same place, or in similar kinds of places. You all have different situations, and I wanted to allow you to design your work in an adequate way, in a way that works for you. Okay, so that's the second thing. Figure out the pacing, whether you want to have a precise pacing or basically just wing it. Now, the third thing that as you could probably guess here, is I'm running into 10 minutes here. I don't want to go too much longer on any of these. 10 or 11 minutes is the absolute maximum. Okay, what I want to say is, in terms of our class timelines over the next due dates for the next 3 weeks, frankly, don't worry about them. Okay, I mean, I don't care about this too much anyway. I want you to be free. I want you to use quality time. But for this especially, I mean, if your group needs an extra 3 or 4 days, great. If you want to work ahead, great. It doesn't really make any difference. Now, okay, so that's that. That's that. I don't want, it's back to my no stress, no stress, no stress. As everyone knows, as I've written like 10,000 times, I don't believe in academic stress. I think it's stupid. I think it's unnecessary. I don't think it helps learning. It most certainly does not help teaching. So we're relaxed about that stuff. I will not run a penalty system in any case. I don't believe in that either. We're all mature. You're all excellent students. You're essentially all doing really well in the class. So there's no rationale for us to cinch things up and kind of be difficult with due dates. I mean, there's a due date. That's the last day of the class. And that's the only one I really care about, quite frankly. Now, once again, if your group wants to work on a tighter, in a tighter framework, that's fine with me as well. I mean, it's really up to you. But for me, if you hit let's say there's a class deadline on Monday morning and you can't make it, don't sweat it. I mean, you don't even have to tell me about it. Now, I can conclude in 1 second here. If you need assistance, just please 301-728-5175. I basically married to my phone. If I happen to forget, there's one of you that I forgot. Again, I'm very aware of this. To do something for it, I'm very sorry, that person. Just retext me, please. Okay? I mean, it's not that I've forgotten. It's not that I'm procrastinating. It's just that the queue is getting a little bit sloppy here. Okay, so always contact me, 301-728-5175, if you think that this whole video thing is really dumb, or if you think I should be more formal. I'll put a sport coat on next time for you, I promise. And so I hope this helps. Okay, sorry that it got so long. I did my remote, which is here. Let's try to make it work, but it's not working. Okay, so tough. And I hope this